The private security explosion. Is South Africa outreaching state police authority? We are witnessing a dangerous handover of sovereignty as private security forces outnumber the South African Police Service, creating a dual-tier justice system that prioritizes wealth over communal safety. We must interrogate whether these corporate militias now dictate law enforcement and effectively rendering the state's constitutional mandate obsolete, while further marginalizing the most vulnerable citizens. In South Africa, private security officers now outnumber the national police force by nearly 4-1. Armored vehicles and tactical teams are patrolling suburban streets, performing duties that used to belong solely to the state. Is this the future of safety, or have we allowed private corporations to become more powerful than the government itself? Go to the comment section, guys, and give me your views. I'm interested to hear your view on this issue. Is it a shadow state or force multiplier? The great privatization of safety. In South Africa, the line between public service and private enterprise is blurred. While the South African Police Service struggles with budget constraints and a staggering murder rate of 45 per 100,000 people, a new giant has risen. With over 2.7 million registered security officers and nearly 600,000 currently active and employed, the private sector or the private security industry now dwarfs the national police force by more than 3-1. We ask, has South Africa reached a tipping point where private authority has officially outpaced the state? The numbers, a David versus Goliath reality. The math is simple, but the implications are complex. The SAPS deficit. In 2026, the SAPS employs roughly 188,000 personnel. However, only about 53% of these are deployed operationally on the streets. The rest are tied up in administrative duties. This leaves a police to population ratio of roughly 1 officer per 10,000 citizens, half of what the United Nations recommends. The private surge. Conversely, the private sector is booming. There are over 16,000 active security companies in South Africa. From gated communities to cash-in-transit protection, the industry is no longer just guards at the gate. It is a high-tech paramilitary machine. Investment gap. While the government spent 121 billion rands on policing this year, citizens and businesses spent significantly more on private security, making it one of the largest and fastest growing industries in the country. Authority vis-a-vis power, the legal gray zone. Does more boots on the ground mean more authority, not legally? Ordinary citizens with guns. Legally, a private security officer has the same powers of arrest as you or I. Under Section 42 of the Criminal Procedure Act, they can only perform a citizen's arrest for Schedule 1 offenses like murder or robbery committed in their presence. Authority paradox. Despite their limited legal status, private firms often arrive at crime scenes faster than the police. In many affluent suburbs, the armed response is the first and only responder. The Eyes and Ears initiative. To bridge the gap, the Eyes and Ears initiative was formed, a formal partnership where private firms act as a force multiplier for SAPS, sharing radio frequencies and surveillance data. In 2026, the police are no longer just leading, they are collaborating with a shadow force they cannot afford to lose. The inequality trap. Who gets protected? The explosion of private security has created a dual security system. The fortified elite. If you have the means, you live in a gray zone. AI-enhanced cameras, drone patrols, and biometric access ensures your safety. For this citizen, the state police are almost irrelevant. The vulnerable majority. For the millions in townships and rural areas, private security is an unaffordable luxury. They remain dependent on an under-resourced SAPS, leading to a massive safety inequality that fuels social tension. The liability risk. In 2026, South African Police Service faces 56 billion rands in potential civil claims, often for unlawful arrests. Private firms, while efficient, face their own scrutiny regarding firearm compliance and unregulated tactical units that sometimes operate outside the law. In conclusion, the new normal. Is South Africa reaching past state authority? Legally, no. The state still holds the monopoly on prosecution and long-term investigation. But on the streets, the state is increasingly wearing a private company's uniform. In 2026, safety in South Africa is not just a right, it's a commodity. And as long as the state cannot provide a basic sense of security, the private explosion will only continue to grow. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Tebos Kosana. The name of the platform is Izwi Labansundu, the voice for Africans. Kama kuma Africa.